Hello fellow collectors and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Voyager class Constructicon Scrapper from the Transformers Studio series. You can see he is number 60 right here. He is from Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, since he is one of the Constructicons. Close-up picture right here on the side, and on this side we get a close-up picture of Devastator, and then you have the, I guess, Constructicon Devastator head logo. I don't know. Every other one just has an Autobot head. Decepticons don't even get the Decepticon symbol. Either get an Autobot symbol or the Constructicon Devastator head. So, I don't know. It's weird. In any case, here is Scrapper. You can see he's a bulldozer. Looks pretty cool. I'm actually really excited for this guy. I'm very hit or miss with the Constructicons, and a lot of them I don't care for, but I actually thought that this guy looked pretty good. So, I'm pretty excited. But yeah, it's pretty standard packaging for Studio Series, not too much going on there. I'm going to go ahead, get him out of the box, and we'll take a closer look. Taking a look real quick with Scrapper and the little backdrop he comes with, I think he looks pretty cool. He fits in there pretty nicely, and of course it is of the pyramids in Egypt, because that's where that final battle takes place during Revenge of the Fallen. So totally makes sense for the scene that they chose. He fits in there pretty well. If you have room to display these guys with the scenes, more power to you. I certainly do not, but I think it's neat that they include them because they do look pretty cool. Fun little display stands here, so very nice. Taking a close-up look at the figure out of the packaging, I think he looks great. I really like the robot mode quite a bit. Definitely nice and solid, which was one of the complaints I had with Sentinel Prime, his casemate. But yeah, very, very cool. Definitely nice stocky base. He's got great legs. They're not too ridiculous. They look like legs, which I always love. I know that sounds ridiculous, but some of these Constructicons have just like giant wheels or like pogo stick bodies, which I think looks ridiculous. So this guy, very, very cool. Love his design. Trying to get close in to take a look at that head sculpt. Let me tilt the camera here. It's weird. It's definitely very tiny and very like scrunched. I almost can't see any kind of detail in the face. It's very smushed. Kind of reminds me of like a bee or something. I don't know why. Maybe it's because he's yellow. But definitely a weird head sculpt. I mean, I'm okay with it. I don't hate it or anything, but certainly hard to see any kind of detail in there. But it is on a ball joint, so it's kind of on this whole like rotation piece in the back, and we'll get there during the transformation because there's something weird about that. But you have a smaller ball joint here at the base of the head, as you can see. So that can spin side to side, a little bit of up and down there. You have a swivel here in the shoulder, as well as a hinge. But you have this weird, like, metal rod. Obviously it's not metal, but it's meant to look like a, I don't know, like a bracing rod or some kind of joint or something. I don't know what's going on. But it's right in the way of the shoulder. Like, it just seems like a weird placement. I mean, it's not a problem because you can rotate this around here. You can do a hinge here. So if you didn't have that hinge, obviously you'd hit right into it. But because you can kind of go out to the side, it doesn't really hinder the articulation. You do have a spin here. I guess that would be like its bicep swivel. Then you have a hinge joint here. Another joint there. I think the actual like hand assembly can do like a 90-degree bend. So he's definitely got some weird articulation in the arms. He doesn't quite have real hands or anything like that. But he's got the same swivel here, this joint. Then he's got a swivel here for this kind of pokey... well, let's be honest. This is for taking pizzas out of a wood-burning oven. I mean, that's what it is. Let's be honest. You go in there, you get the pizza out real nice, you slide it into the box, it's ready for delivery. I mean, this guy definitely has a pizza flipping... he should open a pizzeria. I mean, let's be honest. That's what his future is. Anyway, you have this swivel here. I guess that's his hip. This moves a little bit, and it's kind of weird because you don't really use it for the transformation at all. I'm wondering if that's going to come into play later for the like Constructicon Devastator combination. But that moves a little bit there, and the joints are kind of in here. I guess they're actually these pins right here. You can see these metal pins on the back. Otherwise, you have this swivel here. That's just a straight swivel, and then you have like a thigh swivel. But from there down, it's all one solid piece. So he doesn't have any ankle tilt. But let's be honest, Studio Series is not really known for ankle tilt. That's definitely a Siege and Earthrise thing. But overall, I think he's really fun. Doesn't really have a ton of kibble hanging off of him, which I like. The wheels and everything are integrated pretty decently into the body. I wish he had real hands, but he doesn't have any accessories, so I guess it's not really that big a deal that he doesn't. So I don't know. He looks good, though. I definitely like the robot mode. I think he's fun. He's definitely one of the better Constructicons in that regard. But, yeah. Overall, I definitely like the look of him. Color scheme's great. The yellow with the black and the gray kind of interspersed really breaks it up. He's a lot of yellow, but I don't feel like he's too much yellow. I don't know what this is supposed to be. I'll be honest, when I see this, the first thing I think of is Twilight Princess. When Link would shoot the hook shot, he'd have to shoot him into things like this. That's the first thing I think of. So basically, he's making your pizza with this arm, and then he's helping Link get around Hyrule with this arm. So he's very handy. Get it? See what I did there? Anyway, but yeah, I definitely like the robot mode. He's got a lot of nice articulation. I think the overall design is good. Color scheme, everything like that. Don't really have too much to complain about. Like I said, the only thing I would complain about is I wish he had at least one real hand. But again, he doesn't have any kind of guns or anything to hold, so it's not really that important. And I think these are weird. Aesthetically, I think they look good. But being right in the way of the shoulder articulation seems like a weird choice. But again, you can just put the arm out to the side and then effectively solve that problem right away. Just seems like a weird choice. Why not have them like out here or something where they wouldn't be in the way as much? I don't know. In any case, I think he looks good. Let's go ahead. Let's check out the transformation. Alright, so getting into the transformation for this guy. Let's see. Where do I want to start? So the first thing you're going to do, you're going to open up this chest cavity like this and fold it down. Now this is what I was talking about where it gets a little weird. You can see there's this bar straight across here, right? You're supposed to rotate the head at that joint I showed you earlier down into the chest, which is fine, but how it works is, and it's probably hard to see, there is a cutout in that piece for the rod, which is fine, except for when you go to take it out. So basically what happens, and let me zoom out just a smidge, you're going to push this down and it gets to here, and it's very, no problem, easy swivel. You'll get to about here, and you'll have to apply a little bit of pressure. And you kind of hear that snap. And basically what it's doing is, the neck is snapping over that rod I showed you earlier. Again, not a problem until you go to take it out. When you're transforming it back to robot mode, there's not a great place to grab onto. So you kind of have to like grab here and push, and it's really kind of difficult, and it's really a pain. Over time, I feel like that's going to be a stress point, and it may break. I don't know. I really hope it doesn't. But that's just something to be very careful of, because it really snaps onto that piece really tight, really snug, which I guess is good, but at the same time, it's going to be difficult later on. But you're going to close this back up. I just wanted to point that out because it was scary the first time I was trying. I was like, because I didn't realize what had happened. And then once I realized it snapped snug onto that plastic rod, you just really have to push, and then you kind of, it'll finally pop off and like freak you out, but it's fine. Come around here to the back. This can kind of just pop out and hang down here for a sec. You're going to come around to the arms, and these are going to unpeg like this. You can see there was a tab here that pegged into that tab slot right there. So you're just going to unpeg those. And then this whole chunk is going to flip around. And this big chunk is going to be a connector. You can see right here, almost like a Combiner Wars connector. It actually looks kind of similar as well. So you're going to make sure the connector piece goes around. You're going to bring this down. You can kind of see how there's two indentations here for these two little tabs right here. So this is going to come around. Now the other thing is you're going to see that there's these very tiny little like tab divots here. One right here and one right there. And then on the inside you can see that there's a little divot right there. So you're going to go around and then you'll hit resistance, but you want to keep going until that fits into the divot. And you can see right there what I mean. Then you're going to want to bring this all the way back. Put the connector piece, rotate it back around. Basically 180 from where it started. So now he has this giant blockhead. At this point, you're going to kind of bring these back and straighten out the arms. Now how this is going to work, you're going to rotate this like this, 90 degrees, so rotate like so. And this is where it gets a little tricky, but not incredibly difficult. What you're going to do, you can see down here there's these two tabs on either side of this dark gray connector here. This tab here is going to go into one, and then there's a similar tab on this side. So you're going to have to bring this down, kind of finagle this out of the way, get this down, and then get that to drop in and peg in down there. And it's kind of difficult because this thing gets in the way, but you just have to kind of make it work. Actually, I guess if you can rotate it back like that, it's a little bit easier. So now that I'm just flailing limbs everywhere. Bring this in. Come on, this has to get down. Peg in. Come on now. And then this one will come in and do the same. All right, so peg that in. You can see that these two will peg into each other there like that, but you're going to want to make sure you drop this down a little bit so that there's room. Now there's going to be two tabs underneath here. Whoops, as I knocked the camera around. You can see one right there, you can see one right there, and there's a tab slot right there and there. So you want to make sure this is all the way down, and then that will peg in like that. And that really shores that up. It makes it really solid, so I like that. Then you're going to, you can just kind of get these out of the way for now, rotate them up a little bit. But so this is all going to kind of rotate down. This will actually rotate around like this. You can see there's a tab slot there and there's a tab right there. So this is going to come up and tab into that. And sometimes it's a little difficult to get it to line up, but you absolutely can do it. Sometimes it's a little easier if you just flip this down first. This is going to flip down. These pieces are going to flip around, these like pincer claws. And then this has to, all right, let's get this lined up here. So this drops down, this goes in, and then this has to peg on to there. Come on now. I know you can do it. I've done it before. Okay, so once you have that pegged in, this is going to sit here like so. Okay, so now you have kind of the beginnings of the bulldozer mode. Or I guess actually he's more of a front lifter. I don't know. I don't know construction equipment. I'll be honest with you. Basically, what you're going to do next, this front section here is going to lift up like so. You can see that that peg was in there. So then you're going to do that, unpeg that, and then this is going to unpeg from the wheel well. So there was a little slot right there that this was tabbed into. So this actually gets pretty cool how this next part works. So do I have this lined up correctly? I think so. You're going to come around back here, do the same thing first, unpeg this, unpeg this. You're going to bring this down, so that obviously forms two shovels right there. Now what you're going to do, you're going to flip this part in, flip the wheel in, so that you can bring this past it. Then rotate this up. This piece rotates on its own on this pin right here. Then you can flip that back up. Do the same with the other side, so you can go past. Then when you get to here, you're going to rotate this whole piece 180 degrees like that, and then bring this back. This will stay up here like this. So you're going to rotate this down. There's going to be a tab right here, and that's going to tab in right there. So you just line this up, and then you just tab that in. Do the same over here. Rotate this. Bring this down. And then tab this in here. There we go. Then you're going to bring this down And then this will peg into the side to make the full shovel, I guess, on the front. So just get the angle right. There we go. And you can see that this whole thing can move, which I think is pretty cool. I don't know if... Can this bend this way? No, it just moves like so. It has that one movement here. You can't, like, I wish it could bend there as well, but I get it. But still, there is the, I guess, front loader, we'll call it. I'm not really sure. I probably have something a little misaligned, but I think for the most part that's correct. So I like this a lot. I really do. Rolls very nicely, as you can see. Like I said, it does have that little bit of movement there, so you can kind of pretend like it's an actual piece of, construction equipment. I feel like it's a little off. I must have something a little not quite lined up 100% correctly, but for the most part, it rolls very nicely. And I just think it looks good. I think it looks really cool. It actually looks like what it's supposed to be, which I appreciate. Overall, I really don't have too many complaints as far as the vehicle mode goes. I think the transformation is fun. I think it's really neat how like all the pieces swivel around and clear each other, and everything really hooks in snugly and securely. You don't have to worry about any panels lining up for the most part. I mean, getting this part in the front to connect is about the most difficult, like as far as panels and things go. Everything else is just kind of nice, solid tabs. Holds together very nice, very solid. And like I said, really rolls very nicely. So I like it a lot. Again, it's a lot of yellow, but you do have some like gunmetal gray, black of the tires, other similar colors to kind of break it up a little bit. Have a little bit of, I think that's like a metallic blue tint there for the windows, which is pretty cool. So yeah, overall, I really like this quite a bit. I think they did a really nice job with this vehicle mode. I really like Scrapper a lot. Honestly, out of the two Voyagers that came out this wave, him and Sentinel Prime, I gotta give it to Scrapper. If you're collecting all of the Constructicons to form Devastator, then of course you're going to want to pick this guy up. I personally haven't decided yet. I like about 5 out of the 8 Constructicons. The other 3 I just really can't stand the robot modes. But I don't know, I might bite the bullet just to have Devastator. But then again, I'm not super enthused with how he looks either, so I really don't know. But in any case, Scrapper's a great, solid figure. Color scheme's good. You have the yellow with the pops of gray and black to kind of break it up. I think the robot mode looks great. The legs are really neat the way they're constructed, and I think it's really cool how he transforms. I do wish he had maybe at least one normal hand. I don't really see the point for this weird like grabber claw thing. If it could open somehow, it might be worth it, but I've been playing with it and I don't really see how it opens. I don't think it does. I get having like one shovel hand, okay, it's part of the shovel, that's fine, but I don't know why this couldn't have just been a normal fist. But again, he doesn't have any accessories to hold or anything, so it's not a huge problem. The only thing, like I said, that when you transform that head, having it snap onto the bar, maybe over time it'll loosen, I hope it does, but definitely be a little wary about that, because I feel like that's definitely a stress point that could eventually break, and I certainly don't want his head to snap off or his neck to snap off in any way. But yeah, I definitely think he's a lot of fun. Robot mode's great. Vehicle mode's great, transformation is fun, and at the end of the day, that's what I'm looking for in a Transformer. So I highly recommend this one. Definitely one of the better Constructicons in my opinion, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, thank you so much for watching.